Okay, let's start. Let me share my screen and give me a thumbs up once it's visible. Okay, D and D. ठीक है. So last time what we have seen? Compose. Nice. ठीक है. तो last time lazy columns देखा था, right? And this key things and all. Instagram story view. तो ये अपन ने बनाया था and it was working well. And this is a lazy column example. So आज क्या देखेंगे? What we'll see? Lazy layouts हो गए and lazy layouts items वाला हो गया, lazy column हो गया, lazy row भी देख लिया. We have seen the lazy rows as well. And what remains is a grid. Okay, let's see the grid as well, like how to because it differs a bit. So what I will do is I will just create a new module. Let's call it a week 4. Yes, Adia Rajesh, and next empty activity, launcher activity, blah blah blah. Yes. Okay, let it build and we'll see the grids. Okay, so what is a grid? So we have seen the rows and columns, right? If you want to build a vertically scrolling list, you can use a lazy column. If you want a horizontally scrolling list, you can use a lazy row. But if you want a grid, say like a scrolling of like you want to create a grid, for example, let's say Instagram my post. If you see this UI, this is a grid, right? This one is a grid. 1 2 3 4 5 6. This image is you are saying it's a grid, right? This one 3 by 3 grid, right? So if you want to build something like this, neither lazy column nor row will help you because it's a grid. It's not in single direction. It's a the photos are laid out in a both direction. This one. So for that, Compose does provide something known as a grid. So grids can be scrollable in again 2 direction, either vertical or horizontal. The Instagram thing is a vertical grid because you scroll this way, right? So it's a lazy vertical grid. But if you want to build a horizontal grid, you can do that as well. Let me just do some fancy makeup first. I mean, just just copying out the whole thing, and it's really not necessary, but I just like to keep the things same. Okay, let's sync it, and we should be good. So let's say यहाँ पर बनाते हैं. Let's call it day 1.
Hello, Rajesh, please maximize to 125%, please.
Okay, this works. This works, right? This.
Have you maximized?
Okay. So what we are going to do is we are going to build a grid. Okay, so this time we'll keep it simple. Simple in the sense key the UI, because UI, we can build out anything, right? Whatever you want. So let's say let's create a composable. Let's call it a lazy grid example. Okay, what we'll do is we'll build a grid. So basically, I'll just clear out the things what we want to build, and we want this. This is a device screen, so we want something like this: 1, 2, and 3. So similarly, and you can have something like this: 1, 2, and 3, and then finally, basically in this pattern, we want to build we want to build these things. Okay, 4, 5, 6, whatever. So 4, 5, and 6. But you got the idea. We want to continue this way. Okay. So we want to build this grid. So it's the items are laid out in both manner, right? Vertical as well as a horizontal. So we can use for that we can use a lazy vertical grid. क्या यूज करेंगे lazy vertical grid. ठीक है तो modifier let's give it modifier dot fill max size and then let's create an these things what we will call let's call it a grid item and that will be just a card saying and card के अंदर let's have a box. Try to understand what I'm building. Okay, I just we want to build something like this. So it's a single item. One is only single item, so I can just wrap it inside a box. And the text is let's say item that would be an integer. Okay, so item dot to string. Okay, and let's give this card a modifier. Okay, तो अभी जो बॉक्स बनेगा उसको क्या करेंगे कंटेंट अलाइनमेंट कर देंगे इक्वल टू अलाइनमेंट डॉट सेंटर है ना तो अलाइनमेंट डॉट सेंटर ओके इसका प्रीव्यू देख लेते हैं हाउ डज इट लुक्स लाइक ये इसको थोड़ी स्टाइल दे देते हैं लेट्स गिव इट दिस सम स्टाइल material theme dot typo dot title let's keep it large okay let's create a preview grid item preview blah 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 and let's see item equal to 1 ठीक है इसको अभी कर देते हैं ऐसे let's see how this item looks first let's build it so we want to see how the items looks like we want to build something like this oh my god ठीक है तो let's in the preview let's try to give it some size let's say modifier dot a size 100 by 100 dp that works let's see how 100 dp looks like yes this way right but the box is ठीक है can anyone tell me even though I have given this content alignment equal to center why this is not in a center can anyone just think through it see how it works Kranti yes please
You didn't give the modifier to the box.
awesome yeah that's what we are missing again compose is a very declarative so you need to tell everything at once okay so this was missing by default as I mentioned earlier by default the default nature is to wrap content from the xml world okay so it will wrap or it will only take the space that is required to display this component you need to tell key okay I want to fill the maximum size so that was missing yep that was awesome man thank you okay done okay now the card is already rounded but if you want to customize this if you go and see the card there is this thing called a shape okay so default value is a card default dot shape so you can use these things or else if you want to customize it you can give it something like let's say shape equal to let's say rounded corner shape and rounded by 16.dp okay you want to build something like this there you go and if you make it 8 dp it will look that way okay so this is how it looks like okay now our item is ready let's use a grid and we can use the items but before we use the items you see this is giving us an error lazy column was not giving us an error what does it mean if you don't specify any parameters lazy column was not giving us an error because the vertical grid has mandatory parameter called a columns what is this columns means you need to explicitly tell how many columns you need in our case what we need a 3 columns okay we need a 3 columns so we will use a grid cells fixed type of fixed amount of a grid cells dot a fix and we want a 3 columns okay so let's give it a columns columns 1 sec grid cells dot fix and we want 3 columns, yes. Okay, and then we will list iterate on the items. Let's create a list of the 100 items. Let's say yes, something like this. And then items के अंदर अपन use कर लेंगे list. And we can just get the item. So we want to show the grid items where item would be item. ठीक है, nice. अभी इसको let's see how does the preview looks like. Um, preview grid example preview, and there you go. ऐसे दिख रहा है, right? ठीक है, let's deploy it and see how it looks like. There will take the next decision. Gemini जैसा दिख रहा है ना ये लोगो तो it looks like a Gemini from Google. Nice. ठीक है, तो let's see. Let me just remove these things first. I think I should remove it globally so I don't need to do it again and again and again. Okay, this is how it looks like. So what is the issue is we are not giving a fixed size to our grid, as well as we are not adding some, arrangements as well. We are not adding this space. There is some space between each of these items, right? For example, horizontally, these are the spaces. These are the horizontal arrangement spaces, and these are the vertical arrangement space, and these are the total space for the whole grid, right? So you know the concepts. Okay, now let's give it. So for all the grid, let's give it content pairing, and pairing value of let's say 8 dp. This is a grid, so both vertical and horizontal arrangements applies. Arrangement dot space by 8.dp, and horizontal arrangement equal to arrangement dot space by 8.dp should look better at least. Nice. Comparatively better, right? What if we give size to these things? Let's say modifier equal to modifier dot size 100 dp, 100 by 100 box. Let's run it. Yeah, now this looks a bit good, right? This looks a bit good. As you can see, you can scroll the things out, something like this. You can scroll something like this. Okay, now this is how you create your basic grid. Okay, now we have only seen about these items, man, not a single item. Let's say you want to add a header. Okay, this is not specific to I'll come to the question. But if you want to add a single item, you can use an item block. Okay, you can use an item block. Someone has questions? Same, yes.
Hello, my question is, why does the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 go from in a vertical manner instead of a horizontal manner? You see, like
Because
it is
grid
1, 2,
will,
then 4, 5,
because
6.
grid will try to fill in this form. Grid will try to fill the whole space that is available to use, whole width available to use for its use. So it will fill all these things, then these things, then these things, then these things.
Oh, I was thinking maybe it is because you have used lazy vertical grid. Suppose we used a lazy horizontal grid, they will move from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a vertical
So
manner.
this, so no, the grid will take this form only. I mean, grid will take this form. This vertical word here in the grid means it represents the scrolling direction. So this grid you can scroll in a vertical manner, and that grid you can scroll in horizontal manner. So it's about the way you scroll it.
Or else, maybe you've not gotten me. I was asking, the reason as to why the numbers are going in a horizontal manner. Is it because of the columns, grid cells dot fixed three cells?
No. It like if you use a fix or adaptive any type of things, this grid will always lay out its children in this this horizontal manner. So it will try to fill this space first, and then this, and then this, and then this. Okay.
Or it is programmed that is like default by Kotlin.
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay. So suppose to I wanted them to be like 1, 2, 3, 4 in the vertical manner. Is there like a line of code that we should write?
You mean to, but then you need to define it in like this way. For example, uh, uh, then let's say if you have horizontal grid, something like this, and you want to define it this way, probably you, I think, reverse layout, no arrangement, no, user scrollable, no. I think maybe lazy horizontal grid, maybe I think yes. Yeah, this should achieve that things. Lazy horizontal grid because it takes a rows. Okay.
Okay.
So whatever
I
you are
think it's
saying
cool.
can be achieved using this horizontal grid.
Okay, fine.
Okay, cool. So now if you want to add a list of the items, you can use it. If you want to just add a single item, then you can use these things. For example, let me show you with a column as well, because grid has some more ceremony. So in this column, I'll show you these things. So if you run this column thing, where is that, man? Yeah, this one. For example, if you see this, yes, these are the items, right? So along with the items, you can add a single item as well. So for example, if you want to just say, if you want to show a header, okay, then you can create something like this as well. This is your header. So now the header will scroll as well. The header will scroll as well. Okay, this is how it works. The header will scroll. If you want to make this header a sticky, okay, you can use, what you can use is you can use a sticky header. Okay, this is an experimental API and you need to opt in. So I'll just remove it. If you run it, until the next sticky item replace it, it will be sticky. See, it's a sticky. The things are going beyond it because there is no background color, but it's a sticky, right? Let me show you this way probably. And items would be what we are taking, string, right? So items would be, let me just have an header and let's allow the background to be customized as well. For example, let's say key background color. We will default to which color? Card has this. Uh, okay, so card has, if you go and see the card, for the colors, card has card defaults dot card colors. And card color means what? It's a sort of it contains a various list of multiple colors. For example, background color, what color to show when the card is inactive, what color to show when card is clicked. So all these things is available inside this card colors. So let's just try to grab it and try to understand what I'm doing here. Is colors equal to, what we'll do is we'll colors equal to card default dot colors. This is the default value, right? We'll make a sorry. Then what we can do is we can pass a container color here. Okay. In the material 3 terms, this background color is known as a container color. What? It's known as a container color. So let's say we default to इसकी default value क्या होगी container color की color dot unspecified. Okay, unspecified मतलब nothing. है ना? तो this, the type of this is a color and the default value is a color dot unspecified. If you don't specify it, it will be the defaulting. But header के लिए we want to give something, right? So कहाँ गया? Header किधर है? Yes. We want to say use a background color equal to, let's say, color dot green, something like this. Let's run it. So this is your sticky header, right? So things are going. Okay, this is how you make your header sticky. in a lazy columns. If you just want to add a single item, add it, but single items will be scrolled up. If you want to make it a sticky, make it a sticky header. Okay. The practical use case of, let's say, contact list Android. I'll show you. One thing. Yeah, these things. When you for example, you have a contact list, something like this. You know, this item sticks, right? Uh, this item sticks. Like if you are scrolling this list, this item A will stick. Okay. If you then scroll, the item B will stick. Something like this. You got it, right? You got the idea. So what will these things will be sticked? Or if you want to basically build any sort of these things, then if you want to stick something, you can use a sticky header. इतना clear? List के लिए grid is we'll see. List के लिए clear, right? Sticky and single items. Any questions around it? Okay. So this is how the sticky things works, and this is how single items works. Okay, coming back to grid, let's add just a single item. Let's say we don't want to add a sticky for now. Let's say we want to add a single item and just a grid item. We want to give it a max width. Okay, fill max width. What we want, sorry, what we want is we want this item, that is this header, to take the maximum width that is available, and then we want to start from here. Okay, so we'll give it a maximum width, and then let's call it a header, probably. Oh, items is something we need integer. Let's accept it as a string, because string, blah, blah, blah. I'll come to the question soon. Items dot to string, and let's see how it looks like. Oh, this is the wrong one. Sorry. Let me run this one. Not this one. This one, yes. Let's see how it looks like. क्या हुआ भाई? अरे यार. Okay. Let's run, and oh my God, it's not looking good. Right? We expected it to take the whole available space, that is to it. But what it took is it just took this space. Okay, it just took this space. तो इसको जितनी अवेलेबल स्पेस थी ना, वो उसने यूज कर ली. ओके, इतने एक सेल की. It used the whole space that is available to single cell. But we want something like this. We want a header like this. We really don't want header like this. It looks very bad. How do we do these things, and why does it even happens? So this happens because this item is what? It's a single item for a grid, right? And single items for a grid means only this amount of a space will be given. Okay, single items means only this amount of space will be given. So we need to do some extra ceremony to make, we need to tell the grid that, hey, this cell, this one, is not supposed to just take a space of a single item. We want to give it a space of multiple items. Okay, so in case of items, you have something known as a span. Only for the grids, okay, not for the columns, because for the columns this is not required. You have something called a span. What is span? Span means how long it will span. You want this to give a space of a one cell, or a 2 cell, or a 3 cell. Okay, that is something you can do. So what value can we give? We need to give grid item span, right? Something like this. Let's say grid item span. Can we use this? Yes. Yes, for the span. One sec. Yeah. Let's tell this grid that, hey, this item should span three rows. This item should span 3 columns. Okay. So now you can see it will span 3 columns. Let me run it. And the next item should be starting below it. There you go. This is how you build out the things. All clear? Items and its a span in a grid. Any questions around this point? Anything on the grid or item spanning? Sounds good. Okay. Please join above session link. Class already started. Oh, Rishu, man, you joined later. Okay. Okay. Some questions I can see from Amar. Yes, please.
Yes, Rajesh. Rajesh, if we do not want to define the size of the box, so can we get the actual size of width of the grid so we can multiply or divide by 3 or divide by 4, make it
Yes, yes, yes. You can do it. You can do it. So you can do these things from what to say window. There is these things using the composition local. Not this one. Uh,
because we sometime we define the padding inside the lazy grid or lazy column,
right,
so
right, right.
some of the space is
Got
occupied
it.
by.
Local. Let me just grab these things. What was the name? Local window info or current dot. I guess not this one. Local view maybe dot current dot somewhere it's there. Yeah, I think this is the things. Height and width you can grab it, right? The composition local containing the current compose view. So whatever this view has available height and width, you can just grab it. Okay. I
Okay,
think
Rajesh.
this answer your questions. Yes, okay. Cool. Now this is good and works fine. Like if you are good people and this works fine. But let's try to add more work into our course. I mean,
Mm,
let's not. Okay, some more questions. Someone has questions. Someone raised their hand. It seems.
yes, Rajesh, I have also one
Yes. Sure,
query.
sure.
If we want to define the color, first box color is red, or second one is blue, or third one is pink, something like. So
Hmm.
we have any option,
Just pass
or
it down.
we
Just pass it down using the
no?
modifiers or
a-
colors.
a-
Hmm.
all box color should we want to define
Then
same,
like
not same time. Yes,
for whatever color, see it's a again it's a pure Kotlin logic. So whatever colors you want to give to, let's say, individual to a different box, you can give it. Or if you want to
yes.
pass same to particular this thing, so you can pass it accordingly to grid items.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe need to define the index based logic or something.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
You okay. The next one is from Sam. Yes.
So I was asking, how has this span is equivalent to grid item span 3 surpassed the numbers 1, 2, 3? How has it surpassed, like, so that the head it has filled in the entire space?
So the so this grid item span and three will take the same space that the three cells of these items can take. Okay. Basically, with this configuration, if the size, if you give it this size, whatever the whatever the three cells of these items is taking space, the equivalent space will be given to these things. Because the lazy column will go, grid will go and measure the span, how many items can be fitted. Okay, how many items
Yep.
can be fitted, so that it will measure that, okay, I can fit three items in this row. So the same value will be given to these things, so it can span across the whole. Make sense? Yeah, anyway, we'll see the variant of it as well. Okay, I think that answer your question, Sam, right? I can see the hand
I
is still
still not figure it
raised.
out, but it's okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay. So let's see something else. Okay. This is a grid and this is working fine. But the things is we have defined is we have defined our items hard using the hard coding 3 columns. Okay. Same you can lower down the hand if your answer is raised. Okay. So what we have defined is we have defined a fixed number of columns, right? What if the user is using a foldable? Let me show you. What if, and by the way, this is a resizable emulator, so you can just use single emulator to convert to anything. Let's say I have a foldable. My God, this looks bad. I mean, this is definitely not the size we want, right? It still does these things, but it will only use three items. You know, it will divide the current width into 3 items only. Okay, because this is what we told to just use the 3 columns. What if I have a tablet? Oh my God, this is entirely different UI. I mean, this is see how long this thing is. So it doesn't works, right? From the folding side, it doesn't works. Everyone is able to relate the problem. What the problem is here, the size is too much for a tablet. We know key we have an image view and we just want to display 100 by 100. So this is something we want. I mean, the item size is not, but we definitely don't want these things to happen. Okay, in a foldables or tablets, we want to keep these things every time same. How do we do these things? Instead of the fix, you use a adaptive column. Okay, so what you do is instead of the fix, you tell it adaptive. And for the adaptive items, adaptive means the grid, the compose will measure the available width and divide it into the size required by each item, not by the static number like 3, 4. Okay. For example, we need to say that, okay, we need minimum 100 dp size for each of the cell. That is something we tell it. Okay. What we want is we want minimum 100 dp size for each of the cells. Let's forget this for now. I'll come to this later. We want 100 dp for each of the items because that is I know. Okay. So I'll tell it that, hey, create 100 dp item size items and add maximum items as you can in a single row. Okay, so if we run these things on the device, it can take a 3 size, right? Because 100 dp, if you divide this width and count and count the arrangements and paddings and all those things, you will have a space left for a 3 cells. Let's see how it looks in a foldable. Awesome. We have good improvements, right? Earlier it was just 3. Now we have a 7. And on the tablet, awesome. So this UI aligns with what we want to build. We want to build a box of 100 dp. So now this aligns more on a vertical. So what we are doing is we are adapting to the screen size. Okay, we are not giving a fixed size. We are adapting to whatever the size we have available. Okay, smaller device, larger device, whatever device you have. This makes sense for everyone? Okay. Abhi, let's do some adventure. We told it key we need this header and it should span across 3. Let's run these things. Let's see how it looks like. Header looks good, nice. अभी इसमें जाके देखते हैं. Again, issue is there, right? Again, issue is there, and even in the tablets, issue will be there because, of course, because we already told to only take the size that is applicable to the 3 cells. So it will only take this thing. Do we have any way to measure? Sam, I'll come to the questions later, man. Do we have any way to measure what is the number of the cells that a grid has in a single row? And for that particular whole row, we want to show this header. Okay. So essentially, we don't want it to span across 3 or 4 or 2. We want to tell the grid that, hey, whatever the maximum number of the cells you are putting in in this row, give that number and then span that header across that, because we want the first lines to be fully divided to the header. This is something we want. Okay. What you can do is there is this constant in the LazyGrid item space called max current line span and max line span. What does it mean? Is this max current line span means for the current line, what is the maximum number of the items is available will be given by this variable. And this max line span will be throughout the whole grid. What is the maximum number of the lines available will be given by this. So we want this. So we will use, instead of a 3, we will use a this item scope dot sorry, I think this is a sealed interface. So I think somewhere this should be available. Basically, we want to use this variable. Let me see, is there any implementation? Can I use LazyGrid item span? Can I use it somehow? LazyGrid item span. I think I just need to check the variable name. Otherwise, that should be fine. Let me just search over it. LazyGrid max item span. कहाँ गई भाई, आजा. I just want the max line span, the number of the columns. I mean, there is a function, I think, grid item span, where this constant is available. Grid item span, where we are hitting value class. Somewhere this constant is available. I just need to check. So that's what I'm searching. How to get item. Just give me a second. I think should be somewhere adaptive, blah 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 blah. And let me just get it if I can. Grid item span. Oh, is this a directly available or what? Max line span. Oh, yes. It's a sealed interface. Current line span. Yes, this is directly available. Okay, max line span. So what we are telling this grid is whatever the maximum size of the cells you are putting, just span these items across that whole cells. Okay, so basically we want to achieve this. It's running, should be good now. Okay, works. So now let's move to the foldable. It should take the whole width. Awesome. It's checking the whole width, and even on the tablet it should take the whole width, which is something we wanted. Awesome. This works, right? Cool. Nice. But yeah. So I think this does works. Okay, so this is how you build out the multiple items, how you set the spans and the different values of the spans. Sorry. And essentially, this is how it works. Okay. Now, any questions up to this point? Any questions? Any concern on the grid? Okay, sounds good. Okay, now let's understand one very important concept known as a key. I told key, right? Key is essential for the performance. Okay. Now let's do one thing. You see, instead of a static list, let's create a mutable. Let's create a mutable list. Okay, same as questions. Yes, same. Sam, you can ask your question.
Yes. My question was before you added list item something to the span, maximum line span. In the item span, grid item span, maximum line span. So when you write this span, grid item span, the way it was number 3 inside the curly braces, that one is the one that is used to separate the header from the list of numbers.
No, this is
Have you gotten my question?
this defines how much space you want to acquire. This defines how much space you want to acquire, either this space, or this space. So span determines how many. For example, I want to tell ki I want this header to take the space equivalent to 3 other cells. So it can span across this. I want to take a size of a 2 other cells. So it can span up to this point. This is
And
what
then it will
span
leave
is.
some space. Okay, I think I've gotten you.
Okay.
Okay, so even if you wrote 4, it will go past number 3, the third cell.
Yeah, even if you take the 4, let me show you. If you say you want to be static, something like this. What happened? Oh yes, sorry. What's happening? Am I using it properly? LazyGrid preview. 3. What caused this? Oh, okay. So it seems adding more than this cause it to spread somehow. Yes, it seems it's cause it to spread somehow. Read items.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think I've gotten it.
Okay.
There's no need
So,
to waste time over there. Okay, it's okay.
okay. Cool. Just use max line span and should be good. Okay. So this is done. Good. Now moving on to some other things. A very, very important concept. I'm explaining with a grid, but it applies to everywhere. Lazy column, lazy row, and lazy grid, wherever the lazy layouts are there. Let's say instead of a list, we want a list where we can remove the items. Okay. I could just go and explain using the mutable list of, but that will, make the session long. But okay, let me just go that way because you should be familiar with the compose. So let's do one thing. Let's remember a mutable list of something like this, and let's add some items. Add all, and we want to add up to 100 items. Okay, so this list contain 1 to 100. Now this is a mutable list. Okay, this is mutable list. Okay, and this is a mutable list, and let's have some button. Yeah, very, very important concepts to learn here, man. I'll try to cover 2-3 concepts here. This is one thing. Another thing is what we want is after the list ends, I mean, not the actual list ends, but let's say I want to give this much space to the list and this space to this button. And this button will contain delete a random item. What is this supposed to do? It is supposed to delete any random item from the list. Okay. So I can keep this button here inside an item. And I can have a row, and inside the row I can have a button, and on click I'll implement, but let's have a text, and then maybe text equal to what do you call delete random item. Okay, this is something we want for the row. Let's give it a max width. Modifier equal to modifier dot fill max width dot some pairing, a.db, and vertical arrangements equal to arrangement dot set. Okay. Okay, if I run these things, let's see how it looks like. Oh, sorry, 100. I added a list of 10 only. Okay, so the button is not visible, right? Button is not visible. Why? Because if I scroll list and you see my button is here, I don't want these things. I don't want button to be part of a list. What's happening is I don't want this button to be part of these things. Okay, I want this button to be always visible. And if you mark it as an items or sticky header, it will be part of a list. So I don't want these things. Rather, what I will do is I want to have a list and a button. So कौन से type का UI बना? Vertical. Vertical means, column, right? I want these things. Okay, so I'll just go here and after the list, I'll add a button. Okay, so what I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to add this button here. So there is a column and there is this grid. The button is still not visible. Why it's not visible? Because I am giving the maximum size to this grid. I am giving the maximum size to this grid, which is something again I don't want. This size should be given to the parent itself, okay, and not to the grid. Now let's run it. Yes, still button it's not visible because whatever the space is available, that because this is a list, right? So after giving these things, whatever the space is available, this list is taking the whole space and is row के हाथ में तो कुछ नहीं आ रहा, right? This row is getting nothing. How do you solve this? You use one concept. I mean, you use these things. What we want to say to Compose that, hey, you have this much of a space. You have this much of a space. Now do one thing. Give this space to this button. And then whatever is remaining, I don't care whether it's a 20 dp or 200 dp or 2000 dp. I don't care. This space give to this button, and then whatever the space is available, give it to this grid. So these things, whatever space is available, that can be achieved using a weight modifier. Okay, I want to give this list a weight of a 1. Okay, so it will give the it will measure, sorry, modifier dot modifier. Why this? I think I need to exclude these things, man. Why it's coming? Modifier dot a weight and 1f. Okay, so modifier dot weight 1f means these components will be measured, and then whatever the space is available, that will be given to this component. So you can play with the weight, okay, accordingly, 2f, 1f. Okay, so I'll give it, and yeah, there you go. This thing is visible, right? So after measuring this component, whatever the space is available, that is given to this grid, achieved using the weight modifier. ठीक है, इस बटन को सेंटर में करते हैं using the horizontal arrangement. Arrangement dot center should be good. ठीक है, तो weight का, let me just don't show again this project. I don't want this. Okay. So delete random item. Okay. So this is how, this is the concept of a weight. Now on this button click, let's implement these things. Let's say we want to delete a random item. But this list contains 1 to 100 items. That is, I mean, it has a 0 to 99 index. So can anyone tell me how can we randomly delete any items from a list? I mean, what should be our steps? We want to delete any random element. Say, let's say at this point of time, let's not even go for the random. Let's just say we want to delete element at a number 10. Number 10 means this 11 element because the index will be 0, right? So let's say list dot remove. We remove it. We want to remove this number 10 element. Okay. So this 10 element means this 11, right? It should be removed. It should be removed. Let's see. and then try to log the list as well. So we can just see. Okay, log D, and then we can just try to print out the whole list and blah 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 list. But yeah, let's run this, and let's open this logcat as well. I'm clicking on these things, so item is still there, and you see the element is deleted, but not from here. Why so? Because our list says that okay, item is deleted, and item is deleted, but it's not visible in the UI, right? So this was the list. Let me try to click on again. It might be possible that somehow, okay, it's auto generated. So see if we can, what we see. I click on it, and you see the same things. Yes, items is deleted. So items are really getting deleted. It's just that it's not visible in the UI. It's not visible in the UI. Problem is making sense for everyone. What's happening
List
here? I'm
grid
deleting
is not
the.
refreshing.
Yes. Grid is not refreshing. Yes, that's the thing. But okay, grid is not refreshing. Why it's not refreshing? Because again, this has to do with the recomposition. First things first. Let's say okay, okay. You can argue it's not a state. Okay, it's not a state. Let's make it a state. So mutable state of, let's create a mutable state for this list, and let's just use a by. Okay, let's import. Okay. Okay, now this is your state. Okay, this is your state, and list is a state. So we should be able to see these things. Let's run these things, and let's see what happens now. I click on this. Item is deleted. It's still not reflected. Item is deleted. Still not reflected. Why is it is happening? It's a state, and still we are not seeing these things. Items are, you can see, actually deleted. Okay, but it's a still not reflected in the UI. So what's happening? It's a state. If the what Compose promises, it promised that if the state change, I should recompose, and that's what we are hoping for. But it's not happening here in the list. So this makes us believe that something strange is happening with the list. So this has to deal with how the mutability and immutability is implemented, or rather how the object comparison works. So bit of a Kotlin concept, but I'll explain these things. Say you have a list or mutable list, okay, whatever, a mutable list. Okay. Before I go and explain, anyone would like to answer? Like, I mean, if someone knows that, okay, I knows the answer for this, please feel free to explain, because I just want to give the chance to everyone to just share your knowledge. कोई explain करेगा इसको? Can anyone explain? Those who at least who have used the compose, why this? ठीक है, कब ये सिनेरियो किसी लोगों ने देखा है क्या? I mean, anyone face these things if you are using compose? Those who have never used the compose, that's fine. But if someone has by chance used the compose, and have you seen these things, why it's not working? It's a state. I'm removing the items. State is something I can see. Removing from the items is something I can see. That's fine. But it's still not updating. So say you have a mutable list, okay? And this is your memory address. This is your, say, memory space on the internal level, okay? And say something like this. Your list object is inside this address, okay? Your list is created. Now what you are doing? What you are doing is you are removing the items from this list. So essentially, you are removing, this is a list, this is the object that points. Let me add something. object pointing to the list. Okay, object pointing to the list. This is the list object, that is this one, is pointing to this memory reference. Okay, person. Now when I remove the items, what happens? This list contains items, so it will just remove the items. It's not like okay, this list is going to some other memory address. Okay, it will happen is, let's say this list contain 10 items. This list contains 10 items. Even if I remove the items will be removed from its own location, but the object that this list is pointing is still going to be the same on the same memory address. Okay, try to understand. Even if I have a mutable list and let's say list has a 10 items, if I remove any items from the list, that items will be actually deleted. The list, this object, the data that it contains will be actually deleted. But the object that points to this list, the memory address and reference will be still same. This is how the things works on the Java and Kotlin. Make sense? Itna? And then I'll go. Okay, okay. I think I should stop asking makes sense because it really makes sense for everyone. Okay. So the object that is pointing to the list is still same. Okay. If the object is still same, that means your state is not changing. Your state change when the equality fails. Okay. Kotlin has, even in a Java, Kotlin and Java and those things. It has an equality, right? Hash codes and equals and two strings. And I believe these are the basic things you know. So if you, even after removing this item, if you compare this list object, okay, it's still same. So if the object is same, your state is not changing. What is changing here is your list. Your state is not changing. Okay, your state is not changing. So this is why recomposition is not happening. This is why recomposition is not happening. Let me show you this way. Let's say कि मैं इसको बना देता हूँ state. Okay, I mean mutable state of these things. Okay, and now I'll just use a value and list dot value dot remove it. Fine. अब मैं क्या करता हूँ? Instead of a list, I will just, this. Now this is a state, right? Now this is a state. So what it is supposed to print? It is supposed to print the reference. Okay, it's supposed to print the reference before deleting the value and after deleting the value. Let's call it a before deleting. Okay, and after deleting. After deleting. Let's run this. Let's see how it goes. I click on this. These are it's printing. Oh, I don't want these things. What I want is let me see. 1 second. If I can just print the mutable state, it's basically I don't want this two string representation. I want it's a reference. If I can get somehow to string get value no equals. So anyway, this will be same. And so okay, if let me explain with a list only. So basically what I wanted to show you, I'll show you, don't worry. What I wanted to show you, these two objects are the same. These two objects are same. कैसे determine करेंगे? Let's say obj1 equal to this list. ठीक है, this list मतलब this state. Okay, it's a state. So this object is the same. Then we are deleting it, and after deleting, let's call it object2 and see if these two are equals. Okay, and let's say okay, equals blah blah blah, and object1 dot equals object2. Let's see these things. What happens? Yeah, there you go. both of these objects are equal, because when you remove from the mutable list, it's pointing to the same memory reference. So value is not, I mean, object is not changing, so your state is not changing. Actually, your state is not changing because after this operation, this, it's a same object, so it's not reflected. Okay. Otherwise, what the promise compose hold, it's fine. If the state change, it has to recompose, but your state is not changing here. How to fix these things? Let's say now, let's do one thing. Uh, let's say, what to say? Let's say we use a plain list just like this. Okay. And something like this and this blah blah blah. ठीक है. तो एक काम करते हैं. Before removing this, let's say let's use a list dot remove one. ठीक है. What this will do is this will give us element. Okay. ठीक है. After removal, let's assign it to another list 2. Let's call it list 2. Let's assign this list value. And let's say now let's assign this list 2 to list object. Okay, something like this. Okay, let's make it a mutable. Where? So let me just import it. Okay. What I'm doing is I am removing the items, then I am assigning this object reference, to somewhere to list 2 and assigning the list 2 again to list 1. And then I am trying to print these things. Let's see if it works or not. We'll verify. Okay, I run these things and you see it's still same object. Okay, it's still same object because when you just assign a value, it points to same things, right? It just points to same thing. Now let's do one thing. List one dot do we have a copy? List one dot yeah, let's create something. Well, temp list equal to mutable list dot apply and add all items from, let's create another list and apply all the items from list 1. Okay, that is your list. Okay, now this assign this temp list to this list object. Assign this object to, and let's use equals. Let's see how it goes. And it's still printing the same thing, right? So essentially some like the optimization is going on. So it's what's happening is it's a pointing to same objects. So what we need a way to, what we need is we need a way to differentiate between these two lists. Somehow we need to create another list that does not point to the same object, that does not point to same object. If we are able to do these things, then we will be able to make the state change. Make change, what we need to do? ये पता पड़ गया? Somehow we need to create separate list object that does not point to same reference. We will see the simpler way as well. But before we see the simpler, I wanted to explain how the things works internally. ठीक है. So I think if the problem statement is clear, it's a 10:14. So maybe we can take a quickly short breaks and then we'll be back by 10:25. Okay, and we'll continue on this. ठीक है, चलो. Okay. So everyone available? Hmm, okay. Nice. So let's continue where we left off. Yes, we then tell the compose to, because what we are doing is we are just changing the the data in the mutable list reference. Let's say if we can create something else. Let's say we create a temporary list. So from the list, instead of, let's say, removing the items, let's say we try to filter it out, because filter should produce a new list, right? It should produce a new list. So let's say eat equal value. We just want to change this value. What is this? This temp list is a list of a integer. And why we are not able to assign list, mutable list? Yes, this list is a mutable list, and dot to mutable list. See if we can get this work. Okay. And if we can get this, and okay, filter not, sorry, filter not. And let me show you. Yeah, there you go. See, it's gone. So it's gone. So what just happened is, using the filter, we created the things to understand is we created an instance of the list now that points to some other reference. This instance that we created temp list, and we are assigning it to this list. But this is now something that points to some other memory reference. So compose was able to detect in, and the state was updated. As the state was updated, your UI got recomposed. Make sense what just happened? यहाँ पर क्या हुआ? We are referencing to some other states, and now compose can easily detect the change because these two objects are not same. They are pointing to different reference. So this is what we just did. Clear? Very clear. Any questions, any doubt इसके ऊपर? I guess. Okay. I assume no doubts. Amar, yes, please.
That is, if we again remove the item from the 11.
If you remove it again via this way, it won't work because there is no state change. If somehow you can produce a totally new list that refers to some other objects, then, because every time, because see, when the state change, every time your object needs to point to other reference, then only state will change, and then only recompose will be triggered.
Okay. So means every time we need to create other temp list, and then temp list need to assign the value.
Yes. So this is the things that works. If you, I'll show you one good way as well, because in the compose this is how not we deal with the list, but I wanted to make sure you understand that these things happens, and that's why we are not using it. Okay. The
Okay.
mutability has a many gimmicks, many tricks. So there is a whole philosophy behind it, why the Kotlin is immutables and those sort of things. I'm not going into it, but this is the issue that is happening here. This list is a mutable. Compose is not able to detect it. You need to produce a list that points to totally new reference, leading to the state change, then ultimately leading to the UI update or recomposition. Okay. I
Okay,
think
Rajesh. Rajesh, I have one query.
sure.
If we scroll our list and then remove the 99 position, then state should be
That items will be
99
gone. Yes, that items will be gone. Even if you, like, if I
item.
understood it.
Okay,
Yes.
I got it. Item should be gone, but
Hmm.
our list position will be same or will be from the starting points,
No.
because
The list position will remain. List position will remain in this way only.
no, if we remove the 99 position data after the
Okay,
scroll.
you mean something like this?
Yes.
Let me run it. And let's say I delete random
If
items. It's
if
same.
we scroll after then remove the 99 position.
Oh, okay, okay. So you meant to ask something like this. I go here and then scroll it, then delete it.
Yes, so after the deleting, we get
Yeah,
the
it's
same.
same. It's same.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because this has to deal with the scroll state. Okay, if I
Okay.
get some time, I'll explain that scroll state as well. But it's happening. The state is a maintained. Okay, Saurabh, yes. I never taught this sort of things in the course. I mean, we are going internal, but I really enjoyed because the one thing that I really liked about this batch is, the consistent attendance of all of you around up to 12 or 14 folks are joining daily. Good for me. So I thought to, okay, let's go deep. Yes. Next question is from Saurabh. Yes.
Yeah. Rajesh, this use case, what you're explaining, this is general issue, right? It's not related to lazy or something, correct? If this,
Yes. It's not related to lazy. It's related to the general how the
oh,
compose treats the mutability.
okay, okay, got it. Okay.
Okay. Now, now we understood how we do these things manually ourselves to produce a separate list. We don't want to do these things all. We want to offload this work on a compose, because why should we do it? Why should developers have all the funds? So what we'll do is, instead of the mutable state, we will use something called as a mutable state list of. We will use this function, mutable state list of. It will basically produce a snapshot stat list. Snapshot simply means you have some data, you take a picture of it, you snapshot it. Then you have another data, you take another picture of it, you take a snapshot of it. So snapshot are changing. So snapshot are different objects, just like this. Snapshot are जैसे database का snapshot सुना होगा, right? आपने those who are working on the if you work on the server or those level, so you may have heard about the database snapshot. It means what? A picture or a state of a particular at a particular time. So it represent a snapshot list. So basically the whole things that we are doing here now will be managed by the compose. ठीक है? तो क्या करेंगे? Let's do these things. Add all. है ना? तो mutable state list, and that is a part type of an int, and let's apply something, blah blah blah, add all. Okay. Okay. And let's say, can I just get these things by mutable state list of ठीक है, let's just use this, make it a well. Okay, तो ये हो गया. तो now the whole ceremony will be gone. What I can do is I can just remove this item. Just don't remove it, because when you remove from the item, see, this remove function is from the snapshot stat list, not from the list itself. Okay, पहले वाला जो था that was coming from the ये वाला अपना Kotlin collection का, है ना? That was a collection. This is now coming from the immutable list. Okay, so the compose created this things called immutable list to deal with the immutability, because mutability always gives you tricky results, as we have seen, right? So you remove it item, a new snapshot will be created. New snapshot means new objects, so state will change and recomposition will happen. Let's run this. Yeah, there you go. चला गया, right? So you need to use a mutable stat list. Similarly, अगर आपको map use करना है, तो you could use the mutable stat map of, okay, and mutable stat set, or basically you can use this map. Clear what to use instead of a list? When you have a collection of a data, you have a list, use a mutable stat list, and you have map, use a mutable stat map. This will produce a snapshot list and snapshot map accordingly, because you don't have to deal with this whole thing. तो ये एक कंसेप्ट हो गया. अभी जो दूसरा कंसेप्ट है वो इसी के अराउंड है, बट आई थिंक इसी को लेके मैं चलूंगा तो that will be too much. So what I'll do is I'll just create let's call it here, man. I'll just create it here. New package, day one. Let's move this day one here, and something called let's call it a key example. Key example. Let's call it key LazyGrid key. I think I'll just go with the grid only. I can explain in a list as well, but I think we are fine. Just I'll go with the grid. So I'll tell you what happens is you have a state list. Okay, so far so good. You have columns, you have these things, and our UI is working nice and very nice, very good. बहुत बढ़िया सब कुछ चल रहा है. And this is your grid item. Why it's not resolvable, man? ठीक है, उठा लेते हैं इसको भी चलो. And let's call it a key grid item probably. Key grid item and key grid item blah blah blah. Okay, doesn't matter. Now we got to know key if we have mutable state list, we can make the compose dance. Okay. So now I'll show you another thing. Again, very essential. आज किसी ने मेरी पोस्ट पढ़ी क्या लिंक्डइन पे? This key का example. I'm explaining the same thing. If anyone has gone through it. If not, fine, I'll just explain. Okay, we have a list and we have grids and awesome, bahut badhiya. And we have a headers and we have these things and nice. Let me just run these things. I want to show you something. It's deployed or what? No, it works, right? And if I delete it, yeah, it works. Take it, remove items like that. Now I want to show you something is let's say whenever we recompose any item, we want to check that okay, this item is something that we are recomposing. Okay, and let's say key recomposing item, and which item? I'll just print the name. Okay, recomposing the item 1, 2, whatever. Okay. So what it's supposed to do is when we first see these things, it should print this line for let's say 21 items and this, and if something is visible below it as well, but it should be printed around 22 to 25 times. Okay, because every time in the initial composition these things will be printed. Let's run it and let's check the logcat as well. Yeah, fine. Decomposing item 20 to 1 and including the header. Okay, including the header, it's printing the 21 items because that items got printed. That items got, you know, it was recomposed. I mean, it was short. Now let's do one thing. Let's remove these items. So what is supposed to do is when we remove these items, then what should happen is this item should be removed and some other items come into picture. We are saying that it's like a recycler view. So one item should be gone and one item should be added. Okay, one item should be gone, one should be added. Oh my God, you see, we are it's a recomposing the whole thing, man. 12, 13, 14th, 15th, 22, up to 22. Okay, now if I press again, it's printing again. So basically it is recomposing all the items below the things that I am removing. What it should do, it should just recompose one item. One is going and one is coming, so it should recompose one item. But here we are saying something different. It is recomposing all the items that is below these items that we are removing. Okay, and by the way, this is not the value, this is the index. Okay, so ये index पे items कोई भी हो सकती है. So it's basically, you see the problems. What is the problem, right? Before we go to the solution. Problem clear, a problem statement. What's happening? Why Compose is doing these things? I mean, not why, but what? What part is clear, right? It's a recomposing all the items behind these things. जैसे कि अभी मैं मान लो कि यहाँ पर क्लिक करूंगा तो it will delete this 13. तो 14 से लेके 24 तक सब recompose होगी. देखो 14 से लेके 24 तक उसने सब recompose मार दिया. It recompose all the items from 14 to 24, which is something we really don't want, because imagine that you are loading the image into this box. Too much work, right? Again, you need to load these things. So first things, why this is happening. Second things is, what is the solution? Okay. Now, why this is happening? When you use the items, the compose track each items by its a position in the list. Okay. When you use a lazy layouts, compose track each of the items by its a position, or to put it simply, by its index. Okay. अगर index change होता है, तो compose will think, if the index change, compose will think this is a new item. For example, this was your 10, this was your 11, this was your 12 and 13, and I'm talking about the index. This is index. Okay, these are the index. Compose track each item by its index by default. By default, compose track each item by its index. Now, when you remove a particular items at this index, let's say you remove these items. Okay, now what will happen? This will go up, this will go up, this will go up. So similarly, you got the pattern, right? This will go up, and new items will appear here. Okay, forcing the compose to think that all of these items are new items, because see, and one thing, why it's not recomposing these items, because they are not visible at all. It will only recompose what is visible. But even in the visible, it will think that all of these items are new, because all of them shifted by one position in the index. Clear, right? It's all of this item. I'm saying clear again and again, because this has to do with theoretical understanding. So all of these items are shifting one by one. If I remove these items at index 11 again, all of these items will shift. And how compose track? By its a index. So if all of them shifted one by one index, compose will think that okay, these things are something totally new. So that is why it's a recomposing all of these items. I remove it, all of them will shift by one, and compose will recompose them. Now we need a solution for this. What can we do here is, we can tell the compose that, hey, do not track items by its index, rather track it by something else that I provide. What I will provide is up to me, but definitely I want to tell the compose that do not track by the index. ठीक है, index से track नहीं करना है. Now how to track? It could be anything. You want to track by value, you want to track by some other else. See, if we track items by value, then it's good for us, because even if the index change, value is not changing, right? मान लो कि if I'm reviewing the items at the index 10 and 11, तो इसका इंडेक्स 11 से 10 होगा, बट इसकी वैल्यू 12 ही रहेगी. इसका इंडेक्स 12 से 11 होगा, बस इसकी वैल्यू 13 ही रहेगी. So this value is a constant for us. In this example, everyone is able to relate what I'm saying? Value is a constant even if the index is changing. ठीक है? So how do you tell compose to track by other means is known as a key. Key is a very, very vital things in a lazy layouts. Okay. So key gives you same condition. Items आपको जितने भी मतलब मान लो कि contents में जो भी चीज आती है ना आपके पास, वो सब चीज आपको की भी देती है, because you make use of it. So I am getting the items as a string. This item is my value. Okay. So I can say track by my value. Okay. I'll write it something like this. So you don't forget it. Now I'm telling the compose, do not track by the index, track by the value. Let's run these things. Now compose will track them by value, not the index. Let's say, awesome. You see, only one item's got recomposed, because all of the other items ka index to change hua hi hai, but the value is still same. So compose will just use them. It will not recompose them. You see, only once. So that is why people say key is essential, right? This is how, and this is why key is essential. Okay, I think that was too much. Any any questions, any concern on today's session? And should I just continue, or like we can, we can go for Q&A? Yes, please raise your hand. I'll just come to that. और क्या कवर करना बाकी है इसमें? Animations. And I wanted to come. Yes, animations आज देख ही लेते हैं because I wanted to complete the compose today. Next week, next session में healed and उसके बाद navigation. So we can complete these things. तो ठीक है. Coming to the questions from the first is from Arjun. Yes, please.
Not any question, just a feedback. Like your explanation is really very good. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate. Yeah, it's always good to hear such kinds of feedbacks, positive or negative, whatever you have. I'm saying give feedback. If I'm not explaining something good, make sure you tell hey Rajesh, this is not the way. Let's go this way. That's fine. Or if you like something, mention that as well. Awesome. Okay. Next one is thanks, man. And next is from Kanti. Yes.
Rajesh, can you explain me that item value, how that it is getting tracked by list? Because list has the list of items. So
This one?
how does that? Yeah, the list has all the items like 1 to 100, and how does the keys tracking this item value is a variable, right?
So item value is basically whatever the list is giving to the content. Okay. For example, if I use something like item index. So what I will get in the content, first I will get the index and items. Okay. So key will get the same things. Key function will get the index and the item actual. So not to confuse, this is item only. Whatever the items I am getting into here, the same parameters I will get inside a key function or a key parameter.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, we can pass the same item value to the key grid item also, right?
Yes. If I just do something like this, say, let's say I don't have an index and I have something like this, and I have something like this. Sorry. Yes. So this it refers to this item. Okay. This it refers to what? Initially, I just give it a name. That is, I don't want to call it it. I want to call it item. But it's the same thing.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So next one is from Sam. Yes.
I think my question is the same as Kantik, whereby I wanted to know if the index of the, or like once an item has been called, it will go hand in hand with the key.
Sorry?
Its index. I'm saying my question was more or less same pattern of Kandiki, whereby I wanted to know the item of the list. Once the item has been called, will go hand in hand with the key.
What will go hand in hand with the key?
You know, before you had written item index, before you have changed the
Okay. This one, yes.
So, yes. So, like I wanted to know, once maybe you have clicked and you want to remove one of the numbers over there, will they go hand in hand with the key, of which I can see, my question was similar to that of Kandik.
See, these things is something. It's giving. This has nothing to do with. I mean, this removal thing. This is something. If you want to make use of the index of that list, you can use item index functions, and this will give you index plus item. So somehow in your composable, if you want to use it, you can use it. Otherwise, if you don't need an index, you can just use a normal syntax. This is just for you to use. If you somehow want to, let's say on the index base, for example, let's add some makeup man. Background color. And there would be a color. 1 second. And let's say color dot unspecified, blah, blah, blah. And this is a car. Colors equal to car defaults dot car colors, and the container color, again container is a background. Let's say I want to make all the even items green and odd items blue. What I want is these things. So background color would be if index. Now I'm not dealing with the item value, I'm dealing with the index. Index modulo 2 equal 0, color dot green is color dot blue. Okay, so index is basically how you play with the list. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Something
cool,
like
it's cool.
this. Okay. Nice. Hey, this looks nice, man. I never thought it will look this good. Okay. Coming to the next one, Saurabh, yes.
Rajesh, like while explaining, you told that I mean this whatever the index you're taking, like the item. In our case, I mean in the example case, the values are like unique. But what if the values are like duplicates? In that case, will this work like recomposition? Only that particular item will be recomposed. Like how do we handle that case as a key?
Right. Cool. That's a very interesting questions. So the Google suggests that your key should be stable. Stable means if you pass the same things, it should return the same thing. Okay, it's not like you call some function and it gives you some random value at every time. It should not be like that. Key should be stable. And one very important things to know here is if you pass a duplicate key, it will crash your applications because key should always be unique. Okay, if you pass a duplicate key, I mean, if it's okay, let me show you practically. Then 100 items मान लो मैंने ऐड कर दिए, and then फिर मान लो कि I just add 1. ठीक है, तो see this one is duplicated, right? This one is a duplicated. After the 100 items, this one is duplicated, and I am telling that item value is a key. Okay, so so it consists of a list of a 1, 200, and then finally 1. This is how my list is configured. So that means key will be duplicated. Let's run it. And कहाँ गया मेरा? हाँ ठीक है, मैं जाता हूँ नीचे. इसने क्यों नहीं किया? I think 1 second. I think this is because I'm using item, right? So if the key recomposing item 1, okay. I think this has to do more with value. This values. Okay. ठीक है, got it. I think this should work. Now see, this one was visible here and this one is visible here. So, I mean, it's not conflicting. What if we have something like this? We have list of the 20 items, 20 एक screen में आ जानी चाहिए. तो हाँ ठीक है, 20 आ गई ना, अभी 1 ऐड करते हैं. Let's say add 1. ठीक है, तो 1 and this 1 should be visible on the same screen. Let's see how it goes. Go. You see, duplicate key error. Okay, so your key should not be duplicate. Key 1 was already used. So if it's visible on the same screen, it will throw an exception. So you should always make sure your keys are unique. Otherwise, it can cause crash in a production as well.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Thanks.
Awesome. Nice, cool. Thank you. Any more questions from Amar? Yes.
Yes, Rajesh. Actually, yesterday I have creating the user object and then passing the same user in the items. So that time my application getting crash or
You maybe you were using the duplicate keys, probably.
no, actually, if we are creating the object of any user, so every time object value should be different.
Every should.
Every object value should be every object position should be different or
No, no.
address
See,
should be different.
for the items, for the
Yes.
actual items, it should it even if it's fine, even if it's the same. Because you may want to print the same things for the 5 times. That is your call. You are a developer. You can do it. But your keys should be unique. I mean, the system should not find something duplicated to track. So I don't have exact idea on how your code is written, what the things are there. So difficult to comment. But if you share your code, let's say somewhere later, I can just have a look. But the essential idea is these items can be duplicated. That's fine. But if you are giving this item to key, and key will encounter that, okay, duplicate keys on the same screen, then it will throw an error. It will crash.
Like as we have, if we have a user model, we are creating the with the help of for loop. So
Okay.
model every time model have separate address or
Yes,
unique
yes, yes.
address.
If you are
Yes.
no, no, no. If it's a created inside a for loop and you are creating a new data class, it will have
Yes.
a separate address.
Yes. Yes. So that data class may be creating the issue.
Might be it might be creating, because if you are somehow using keys or some other combination where the duplicacy is happening, or it
Yes.
might be the case that I mean I haven't seen your code, so it might be the case that in your code something else is causing these things.
Okay.
So one suspect I can say is a key, duplicate key. Have a look at that front. If it's not there, then share your code and I'll just have a look like what's causing this.
And it means we can pass the whole item, yeah, whole object inside the item.
Yes,
In,
yes, yes. Keys, yes, yes, yes. Keys returns any. Keys can returns any. So
okay.
any means superclass of everything. So you can pass your whole object as well. But ideal way, I wouldn't suggest to pass a whole object. Let's say you have something like a user and ID and names and emails and blah blah blah. I would just suggest to pass a ID, okay, and not the whole user object. Even though it's a different, my suggestion is to go with the ID. Let's not track everything. Let's just track the single things that uniquely identify. So I could use user dot ID as my key. Okay.
Yes, I have also used same after the crashing.
Cool. Sure.
Thanks, Ramesh.
Thanks, man. Cool. Next, anyone? Any questions? Uh, 11 बज गए यार. I don't think कि I'll take the questions. Don't worry. I don't think ski animations. I mean, it's just a 15 minutes, but don't want to stretch. I'll leave it up to you folks. If you folks want me to continue, I can do so. Or if you want to take some rest because it was too much today, I can do that as well. ठीक है. Next one is from Sam.
Rajesh,
Yes. I'm not
okay,
going
I
anywhere,
was
Sam.
asking
Yes.
there was a question. There is something that you said about Google. Say something about the keys. You said that it will be stable. I mean, I did not get it well. What did they mean when they were saying that the keys should not be playing around? Please just repeat it.
Okay. Just repeat. What does it mean to key should be stable?
No, like there is something that you said about Google. Google said that
No. I
keys
just
should be
said
stable.
Google recommends these things. Compose key. If you just search the key, man. Compose key Android. Not this one. Lazy layout key. कहाँ गया भाई? आजा. And if you see the key, blah blah blah. I just was referring to these things. Item keys. Uh, providing a key, providing a stable key enables item state to be consistent across data set changes. Okay, so stable means it should be like unique. For same value, it should return same output. Okay, so basically what I mean to say is, to put it very simple, the key should be unique. It should not be duplicated. Okay.
Okay, it should not be duplicated. I've never seen a situation whereby it is duplicated. So I'm like, I've never seen that such a situation.
I just shown you, and then it happens because see, because I faced these things on practical applications as well. So we had some sort of a UUID as a key. I mean, and then by mistake, I think we were passing by mistake, not intentionally, by mistake, we were passing some objects that was causing the keys to be duplicated. So it was, crashing. So if you forget to, handle it properly, it might be the case. Nobody will intentionally do it, but by mistake, it happens that you pass a duplicate key. Because key could be complex as well, right? It's not just like as simple as these items. You may have some complex objects, and for that object, you are passing some, let's say, identifier. This identifier comes from other interface. So if you have this chain of these things, and then you are referring this chain, it might be possible that by mistake, you are duplicating the things. And where there at that time, it might crash as well.
Oh, okay. I think I am now getting you. Whereby there is like a coincidence
Yes.
or there was a mistake. I think it's okay. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Any more questions? And one thing, yes, should I just continue with the animation, or like, are we good to wind up? What do you folks have to say? We'll just wind up. Arjun, yes, please.
Don't you see the assignments today?
Yes, we'll see the assignments, but on a Wednesday, because the deadline is on Monday. So I want to give, this is how we follow, right? Even in the last week, we will review it on Wednesday. And one thing, folks, please, if you have completed the assignment 2, I already have the repo. I expect you to do the assignment in the same repo, but just let me know that, okay, I have done the assignment 2. So I'll get to know that way. Take it?
Rajesh, based on the same.
Sorry?
Saying based on the same about the assignments. I tried to find out whereby the assignment was, but I never found out. I was even asking some other guys over here.
Then you should ask earlier, man. I don't think this is the correct time to ask. It's about
Sorry,
it's
I told you my machine had an issue. So it was like after it.
It's right here. You see the course content? It's right here on the assignment folder. I mentioned on the chat as well, it's available on a shared location. This is you are able to access, right?
That one I can access.
Yeah, it's just right here. And all assignments will be here.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Okay. Any more questions?
Rajesh.
Yes, please.
Basically, the lazy vertical staggered grid also same as this grid example, right? So
yes. So staggered. Yes. So staggered are for building the staggered grid. What do I mean is this is a vertical grid, normal grid. So in a normal grid, we usually all the items have the same size, right? Width and height. But in a staggered grid, the size can different. For example, I believe you know already these things.
Yeah, I know it, but I just want to know that there won't be any much difference.
Yes. I just want to explain to those folks who don't know. So, okay. So yeah, folks, this is interesting thing. So just like a lazy vertical grid, there is this things called staggered grid as well. Lazy horizontal and lazy vertical staggered grid. What do I mean? Is Pinterest is a best example. Okay, so what is this? Is a staggered grid means not all the items have a same size. You see, this item and these items have a different size. Okay, this and this have different size. It's not same. So this sort of a grid is known as a staggered grid. Okay, तो ये जो UI concept होता है, इसको we call it a staggered grid. And if you want to build these things in a Compose, you have a lazy staggered. Okay, lazy staggered horizontal and vertical grid. If you want the same size, just go with these. Different size, go with a staggered grid. Okay, nice. Cool. Yeah, so to answer that, yeah, the fundamentally they are almost same, except the sizing thing. Okay. Any more questions on anything on today's session? Sounds good from everyone's side. Cool. What remains? Animations. तो ठीक है, animations cover कर लेंगे and I want to cover the dependency injection as well and the navigation as well. तो navigation भी साथ साथ ही कर लेंगे Wednesday को and probably फिर अपना क्या बोलते हैं Friday को will cover the dependency injection with the hilt. ठीक है. Cool, then I think we are good to wind up the sessions. No one has a question, so that's good. And thank you everyone. Have a good night. Take care and bye bye.